Now going to the 5 red lights. Long hold, lights out and away we go. Actually get a decent start for once, this is a first. Looks like Sutter alongside us hasn't got a good start at all. Now going side by side into turn 1. Breaking out, Sutter just dive bombed up the inside. Actually cuts on a spin, Sutter's spun. Oh, just now managed to avoid him there. Now Ericsson's got past us, now Sutter. We're 4 way down the order now. We've got Alonso up into 13th. Taking a look at replay of our teammate Roman Grosjean. Just slams into the side of one of the BMWs. Coming out of the pit lane, Grosjean. Must know to leave the space. Coming out inside line, that's where the cars have always come out of there, so... Now Grosjean's lost half of his front wing. I'm sure he's going to pit for repairs for a new front wing. Now coming on to lap 9, we've got Verstappen on the soft tyres coming over inside. Actually got it up the inside. We're going to try and hold it right the outside. Oh yes we do, get the traction on the outside. Verstappen there on the soft tyre, so Verstappen doing the 2-stop in this race. Interesting decision there from the Torso. And now looking at replay of Valtteri Bottas coming up behind the 2 Manners, and they're managing to stop out. They're going to go 3 wide into the chicane. What? 3 wide. Now Bottas just completely goes off of the track and keeps the positions. Now look at the 2 Manners going side by side to block off the 2 BMW Williams behind. Great tactics there from the Manners, but Bottas is completely going off the track, making a legal overtake of both of them, and isn't showing any sign of giving back with those 2 positions. Now cutting on to the end of lap 13, start of lap 14, unfortunately not much happened, but now we've got Vern looking up our inside into turn 1, trying to make the same move that Verstappen tried. Once again we're just able to hold it around the outside line, they just haven't got the traction on the inside for Vern to be able to keep the move. Now coming on to the final lap of the race, we've got Vern behind us coming side by side, and we've got one of the Williams of Button behind as well. Now we're on the inside this time, Vern actually runs out wide, which gives Button the opportunity to come up right behind us, and Button just goes straight past the Toro Rosso Vern. And now we know how monstrous that BMW is in a straight line. Now Button's power straight past us, but actually locks up slightly, goes a bit hesitant into the corner. Now we're able to slip it back up the inside. Now going side by side with Button. Now hold it around the outside, yes we are, just about hold it. Now we're back up into 4th position for the time being. But can we hold this for the rest of the lap? And now coming up to the high speed chicane, it's really going to be Button's last chance to try and make an overtake on us. Now he pulls out of the slipstream, coming alongside, coming into the chicane. And Button actually, our bases just runs out completely wide, and now Vern moves back up into 4th position. We just about kept it for 4th so far. And now Lewis Hamilton's going to cross the line to win the Australian Grand Prix on his debut for Ferrari. My base's going to be very happy with his move to join the Scuderia. Now coming up to the line now, we're in 4th, but Vern gaining in the slipstream. Can he get us for the line? No, I think we're just going to about hold on to 4th position for the time. Just keep it in 4th position. Great start for the season. End of lap 1, now gaining in the slipstream on the back of Grosjean. Looks to be gaining on the car in front, which I think is one of the Force Indias, so that must be Nico Hülkenberg, and yes it is. Hülkenberg going very slowly into the braking zone. Managed to gain quite a lot of time there on the back of Grosjean, but thankfully you don't hit him. Now looking to keep close throughout the remainder of the lap and try and use Grosjean as a kind of shield to help us get through the pack. Yellow flags behind. I'll take a replay of that in just a second. Now going up into turn 4, get a great exit, but it's just not enough to try and get it side by side with Grosjean. Now taking a look at replay of what caused the yellow flags. Looks to be one of the McLarens, which I think is Felipe Massa because it's the lead of the 2 McLarens. And it looks like Massa just completely loses it on the exit, showing that the McLaren is still suffering with a lack of rear downforce and just gets it back on track in front of one of the Manners. A bit dangerous in my opinion, but he'll go away with it at least. Now coming on the start of lap 3, gaining the slipstream of our teammate, but Grosjean looking down the inside now of Nico Hülkenberg going into turn 1. Heavy braking zone. Now we've got to stay behind and look for opportunity to get past later on. Looks like the opportunity is coming straight away actually. Grosjean's completely cleared Hülkenberg. Now we're going side by side with the German, and now we've got round in as well. So Hülkenberg in 2 corners has lost 2 positions to the 2 Lotuses, and it looks like some of the cars coming in early for a 2-stop. These cars must be doing some pitting this early. Now coming onto the final lap, we've got Hamilton gaining in the DRS zone. Hamilton looking to the left, now going to go to the right. Hamilton's going to pull to the inside. As she gets ahead of us there, now we're going to look back down the inside. We're going to dive it back up inside. Hamilton having contact, and we spun! Hamilton spun us! Now going around, we've actually lost a bit of our front wing. Now going around the final corner, second to last corner even. Everything gets up the inside of us now. We managed to get a great run, but now we've turned into the wall. We've lost the rest of our front wing now. See the car made the contact with, and now down to 11th. Now here comes Sutter with some amazing straight line speed. It's like a rocket ship there. That Ferrari power unit in the back of the Sauber. Now we're demoted back down. I think we're still in the points currently. Yeah, we're still in 12th. Looks like it's going to be a 12th place finish. And now coming down the straight, got Buemi means upgraded Williams going side by side with Valtteri Bottas for 3rd position. Now, Buemi will have to have the inside line. But can Bottas hold it down the outside and how can turn to the inside? But now, is Buemi going to have the better traction on the outside line? It looks like he is, and now Buemi looks like he can drive around the outside of Valtteri Bottas. That extra downforce there, helping Buemi clearly to overtake the Mercedes. Now, come back onto us, now coming up into turn 3. We'll dive it up the inside of Nico Rosberg, catch him napping there. But now this puts a lot of pressure on us, as we need to get past either or both of the Toro Rossos very quickly. Otherwise, imagine Toto Wolff's going to be on the radio, telling us to let Rosberg back through very soon otherwise. Rosberg's coming into the pits very early, so Rosberg, despite starting on a set with new soft tyres, still does feel like he's doing a 2-stop along with Grosjean, I think that is, and one of the Force Indies as well. So is Rosberg going to the set of the soft tyres? Yes, so Rosberg, despite starting on a set of fresh tyres, once again he's doing a 2-stop, and now managed to show the nose up the inside of Daniel Kvyat. Make a bit of contact there with Kvyat, come around the exit, Kvyat forces once again, makes a bit more contact, and make a bit more contact with the Toro Rosso of Daniel Kvyat. Eventually we managed to move around the outside of him. Hopefully we cleared him now, we close him off and get to things like trying to hold it back around the outside. Now we move up into what is currently 5th position, as a few of the top teams are coming for their pit stops as well. Just looking for line, there's yellow flags up in front, so Grosjean's got to receive the position back to Max Verstappen. It's like someone spun in the edges of the pit lane. That car looks rather silver. And here's it, Rosberg! Rosberg spun! How's Rosberg spun in the pit lane? I'll take a little replay of that. I have no idea how that's happened. I look at the replay. He actually gets spun one of the Manners. Well, the Manner wanted to come into the pits. Rosberg on the outside wanted to go for the corner. So arguably the 3rd fastest car on the grid just gets taken out by the slowest car on the grid. And she's pit lane now. Rosberg has to still wait for many of the slower cars to go past us, the McLarens, the Saubers. That's pretty much any chance of Rosberg scoring points now gone out the window. As they're gaining massively, switching up to 200 miles now, coming to turn 1 and make a move easily up the inside. Almost happened, but Verstappen does well to try and brave it around the outside. Now we've got the inside line. Can we force Verstappen out even before turn 2? Yes, we can. And now Valtteri Bottas going side by side with the Toro Rosso driver. Now Bottas trying to look to hold it around the outside of Max Verstappen, like I learned from what Buemi did to him earlier in the race. And Bottas is able to make the move around the outside. But now we've got to think about where we let Bottas through, because that's clearly what we need to do now. But Verstappen's going slowly. Verstappen got a problem. And here comes the Ferrari with Hamilton, and Hamilton just slams into the back of the Toro Rosso. He's lost his front wing. Yes, Hamilton's lost his front wing. Now BMW just gets through completely unscathed, but now Hamilton has to do the rest of the lap without a front wing. And now I think Verstappen has a puncture actually. If Verstappen's puncture, now one of the McLarens goes airborne. Now Verstappen's been spun. He takes out one of the Saubers. What is Verstappen doing on the racing line when he's got a puncture? As everyone else just about gets around. Thankfully the Sauber can carry on. Now losing a bit on the straight there, goes to the traction. Still lacking on this Lotus, but now gaining through the S section. We've been really quick through here all weekend long in practice sessions as well, compared to the cars around us, so Grosjean, Toro Rossos, Force Indias, all the other midfield cars. Now getting a great run on a teammate now. In this section, we're going to pull out the slipstream, are we? Now we've pulled to the right hand side now, coming up to the final corner. Outbreak Grosjean. Grosjean doesn't really put much of a fight there. Runs out a bit wide, and now we move up into 9th position. Now we can try and chase down Sergio Perez. As Lewis Hamilton sets the first lap of the Grand Prix. No, actually Jenson Button sets the first lap of the Grand Prix, not Hamilton. Now gaining down straight. A mighty battle behind between Verstappen, Grosjean. Now Hulkenberg moves up into 10th position. They must be going 3 wide back there. Now Hulkenberg back into 10th position. Now Verstappen is back into 10th. Now Hulkenberg back into 10th. Now Grosjean is finally back into 10th. Just only a titanic battle behind there, those 3. But now trying to gain on Sergio Perez to take his 8th position. Sergio Perez really doesn't seem to like 8th position so far in these races. Now coming further on to the end of lap 2, start of lap 3, we're caught up to Sergio Perez, and now I'm trying to overtake. Sergio Perez playing side by side down to turn 1, trying to outbrake the Mexican driver. We do, Perez runs out wide and doesn't put in much of a fight, and now we move up into 8th position. Now we can try and chase down Jean-Eric Vergne in the Red Bull. Of course with that Renault Howie in it, it's going to be very fast in a straight line.
If I don't avoid that, he's just going straight to my car. Honestly, what are we doing? Racing or ping pong?
As you saw there, Lewis Hamilton making it 3 wide with his teammate Vettel and one of the Williams, was I think Sebastian Buemi. Now Buemi and Vettel going side by side. Vettel runs out wide, and now we're going to dive it up the inside of both of them. try and make up 2 positions in one. We managed to get Vettel, but Buemi just gets us on the traction. Now, but look at Buemi weaving all over the track, trying to break the slipstream. Now we've got the momentum coming into the S section. Now we're going to dive up the inside of Buemi. Now Vettel's going to follow us through as well. So in basically 3 corners, we've gained 2 positions. Buemi's lost 3. Vettel's also lost 2 positions as well. Now currently going to the end of that lap. We've got John Verne now with DRS behind us. Now we've got Buemi looking to make it 3 wide behind. When I get 3 wide, we've turned to the wall, and we spun, we lost our front wing, and Buemi's taken Buemi with us. And now Buemi hits us once again. We just about managed to get back on the track. Now gaining in the slipstream, gaining massively in the slipstream in fact. It's like one of the Ferraris, Hamilton gaining on the Williams in front as well with Button. Now coming into turn 1 and going side by side with Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo tries to keep it back up the inside, but we just have it running outside. We've got the run, got the position. Now we move up into what I think is 6th position. Yeah, up into 6th position now. I'm going to try and keep with the top cars in front, the Ferraris, Button and the 2 Mercedes out front. Nice down where we go. Thankfully we get a good start. Managed to move to the inside of Fernando Alonso. Now try and look at the inside of Sergio Perez to take one. Oh yes we are, going up the inside now. Going 3 wide with Sergio Perez and James Button. There's contact! There's contact! Perez into the wall along with Button and everyone's had to stop behind. Thankfully they've all got going without damage, so it looks. Yeah, Perez has still got his front wing, looks like Button still has all of his front wing as well. Now coming under pressure from Felipe Massa and McLaren, and Button runs wide. Has Button got damage? Button must have some kind of damage. Button's going to drive all the way down to the back of the field now. Actually they've got too much man, they're into the wall. And thankfully it's only light contact. Now Button's been demoted down to the rear of the grid. And yeah, you can definitely see there, it's got some floor damage, got some rear diffuser damage. That's going to be a long race for the 2009 World Champion. Going further into lap, Massa continuing to earn. Massa hits the wall, pretty much doing what we did in practice now. Lost half his front wing, taking going to pit for repairs now. Massa hits the wall, and he's been spun! What is possible? He's been spun 3 times! A massive pile of cars behind now. Alonso gets through, the Toro Rosso's managed to get through. Now one of McLaren's facing the wrong way, Force India just about gets going. And now look at Burton's actually managed to catch up and get involved in this now. One of the Red Bulls gets going, the Force India gets going. There's more contact between the Sauber and Massa. And Massa shoves one of the Saubers into the wall. I think that Sauber may have the Sauber got damage now? I'm actually going to take evasive action now. Sauber definitely has damage, now to pit for repairs. Getting out of the way of their teammate, thankfully. And looks like I think Massa's got a puncture now. There's a bit of a queue of contact, and one of the man has made contact with Massa, and they've been spun by the Manor. Now Button just about gets around them, and now Massa, after a brilliant qualifying and starting 13th, have been demoted down to the back of the grid. Now gaining massively on the brakes there, Grosjean must be backing us up slightly at this point, so hopefully maybe I get a few team orders in, because Grosjean really does look to be the slower driver at this stage. He's really backing me now into Sebastian Vettel, but I think I have to make this move, we have to make it on track ourselves. Now we get alongside Romain Grosjean, look to make the same move that we did back on John Van Aiden race. Grosjean hits the wall, but thankfully gets away without any damage. Still got all 4 wheels on his car pointing in the right direction, but Grosjean forces us out on the final corner, it makes a bit of contact there as he brake checks us. Make a bit of contact with Sebastian Vettel. So getting very physical here now behind with me, Grosjean and Vettel. Now let's look at Vettel's cover inside. We've had the momentum around the outside line. Talking momentum, we've got a great run on Romain Grosjean. Now he'll look to the inside once again, like we did earlier when Grosjean came out of the pits. Now we're going to go 2 wide once again. Grosjean hits the wall. And that was interesting. We made contact and we spun. It's only to the wall. We lost our front wing. Grosjean's lost his as well. But now we're still facing the wrong way. How are we going to turn around at this point in the track? Because we've got the 2 Toro Rossos coming past us now. One of the Red Bulls as well. As the second Toro Rosso just about managed to avoid us. We managed to get facing in the right direction after doing I think a 3 or 4 point turn. But now I'm going to pit for a new front wing. This is all too reminiscent of Bahrain. And there's actually managed quite a few cars got stuck at the hairpin there. I think that's one of the Red Bulls and one of the Toro Rossos. But now coming up on the end of lap 13 now, bit of a queue here. And there's actually a Grosjean. Grosjean got a puncture. It's crucial there we got in front of him if we have to salvage anything from this race. Of course, all the crashes that happened earlier on, there's still a chance that we might be able to get points. We're actually trying to let past the one of the Ferraris. Actually slams into the wall. It gets nudged into the wall by one of the Ferraris. Now Massa's lost his front wing, and Rosberg actually gets through into what is currently 2nd place. So now Massa trying to let Hamilton pass, slams into the wall once again. And now the Williams of Buemi gets past, and now I think that's our teammate Grosjean coming up to overtake Massa for position, and then just hits Massa. So at least it's not only me that Grosjean wants to take out in this race, and now he's trying to take out Massa, so at least it's not just me that he's trying to take out at least. Now he just managed to get inside now of Felipe Massa. Now coming further on into the lap, Massa now has a puncture and he's slammed into by one of the Red Bulls. Now he's just getting shoved along the wall by the Red Bull. Now managed to get past, and now Massa is in a very, very dangerous position. Now there comes his teammate Fernando Alonso. And there goes one of the Toro Rossos, the other Red Bull. Now Massa, I think he's just stuck there, wasting time. Bottas hits the wall. Bottas has hit the wall from the lead of the race. Bottas has lost his front wing. Flags waving everywhere. Green flags, yellow flags. I don't think the marshals know what flags to wave at this point. Now here comes Rosberg. Rosberg T-bones Massa. Now I think Rosberg must have damage from that. Now Rosberg's got a puncture. Now here comes one of the Ferraris. Ferrari's lost his front wing. And now how's Buemi got through that unscathed? And now because surely Bottas is in the pits. So does this mean that Buemi's going to take the lead of the race? Yeah, Bottas is in the pits. Buemi's going to take the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. There's only 2 laps left to go, maybe even 1 lap left to go, so now all Bottas needs to do now is... Now Buemi needs to keep a clean final lap, and surely he's set for the win of this race. But now, Sebastian Buemi is going to round the final corner to take his 2nd win of the season and win at Monaco for Williams, definitely ending their bad luck streak on street circuits. And if this race hasn't been crazy enough, this is a McLaren. This is Fernando Alonso fighting for a podium against Lewis Hamilton. Go to the line. Alonso's going to get it. Fernando Alonso scored 3rd place on the podium for McLaren Honda. Now trying to finally cut up to the back of Daniel Ricciardo, who's actually now been overtaken by his teammate John-Eric Verne. I don't know if you saw this from in front. You got Nico Rosberg stuck behind both of the BMW Williams. Now we've got looking up front at the 2 Red Bulls. But Daniel Ricciardo looks to move to the inside of his teammate John-Eric Verne coming into the final chicane. Now both corner caught each of the chicanes, they slow each other down, hamper each other so much. Now we're going to make a double overtake. Are we now going side by side with the lead Red Bull? Now we pass both the Red Bulls. Now moving to 7th position. I imagine Christian Horner is not going to be happy whatsoever. And now coming up to 2nd section. Now Rosberg actually locks up. Rosberg's run wide. Is Rosberg struggling? Maybe those injuries. Maybe he isn't really fit enough to race. And now great camera shot there from the rear diffuser of Nico Rosberg. Now going side by side with the defending world champion. Trying to look outside, but Rosberg outbrakes himself. He hit us. Rosberg's hit us. And now we get an illegal overtake because he forced us over track. We just went straight on. So now we have to slow down and let Rosberg get past. And now Daniel Ricciardo looks to make it 3 wide coming into the hairpin. Rosberg locks up once again. Now Daniel Ricciardo's managed to overtake us. Now we're going side by side with Rosberg. Now so I think we're going to manage to clear him coming up towards DRS, and yet now we've now cleared Nico. Force engine goes slows out. Perez got an issue. Now Jordan gets round, and now Perez got puncture, it looks like. And it's going to have to do the rest of that now without puncture. So it's very reminiscent to last year where the tyres just did not last, and Pirelli looked to have not got that issue sorted. Almost like, as I think I said last season, Indianapolis 2005, all the Michelin runners couldn't start the race because the tyres just wouldn't last. Now Perez makes a bit of a mobile chicane of himself, and there's more cars coming in. That's Jordan coming in, along with one of the Williams, which I guess is well, I guess it's Button. So that Mercedes, I think Rosberg's pit as well. They just can't make the tyres last. Now Jordan gets held behind the Williams, so I don't know which Williams that is. But again, the tyres just don't last. Now coming back onto us, now up into 3rd. Once again closing back on Lewis Hamilton in this Ferrari. And also Hamilton completely track extends to keep his position. Okay, looks like he's not going to assist that position anytime soon, so it looks like I'm going to try and chase him down once again to try and take 2nd position. Now it's Buemi behind us, so that must be in Button that came to the pits on the 1st lap. I think Hamilton's pit. Now Vettel's going side by side with us, come down to turn 1. Let's have the inside line. We're going to try and hold it around the outside, or we just keep the nose in. Force Vettel exit, compromise Vettel exit. And we're going to now it's just drag race up into turn 3. Of course, with a lower drag Lotus, we're going to have it in a straight line. Now Vettel's going to look behind us. Vettel hits us! Vettel hits us. Now we go straight on wide. Vettel tried to make a move back to the outside. Misjudged his braking. It hit back of us. And he's now taking the lead of the Grand Prix and has DRS to pull away. Now got to try and defend from Daniel Ricciardo from turn 1. We go to the inside line. Force Daniel Ricciardo to go the long way around the outside. He's going to make the move. He outbrakes us. He runs out wide into turn 1. His teammates hit Verstappen. Verstappen spun. Daniel Ricciardo's weekend just goes bad to worse. Now he hit his Toro Rosso teammate Max Verstappen and he's spun. I imagine there's going to be a few words after this race. Now coming on to our pit stop lap, we're coming in now for one and only stop because we thankfully managed to make our tyres last. I'm going to set soft tyres. Now the team... What are the team doing? Why are you just standing there changing my tyres already? I mean, I didn't have a penalty or anything because 5-second penalties aren't a thing yet. So I don't even know how here's Verstappen running wide. Man has managed to drive over the top of him! He's just been driven over the top of one of the Manners. Which Manor was that? What? How are they both still in the race? He's got driven over the top by one of the Manners, and now Verstappen somehow gets going. I think that's actually Rossi, so Verstappen moves out wide, it's completely cuts back in front of Rossi, and Rossi just somehow drives over the top of Max Verstappen. And I thought Monaco was crazy. Now this race just completely destroys it. Now looking at Rosberg, makes me backfield and makes past Verne. And there's contact, they're airborne. Again, how many airborne overtakes, aerial overtakes, is going to get smashed away by one of the Saubers, loses the front wing. Now Button spun. What is happening in this race? I thought Monaco was crazy. It seems Austria, where there isn't as many barriers, everything just goes wrong, and now here comes Jordan back up behind one of the Manners once again. Looking inside, and she's spun as well, she's lost her front wing. Actually have to pit for a new front wing. Thankfully the Force India, I think that's Perez and the other Manor, avoids her, and then what presumably is one of the Williams, probably Bottas, Button or Buemi. And now Jordan has pit, so this is why our pit crew, I imagine, went changing our tyres in Infinity, because Jordan had to pit for a new front wing on our pit stop lap as we were coming into the pit, so I guess this is why they weren't ready for us to change our tyres. And now Will Stevens from Manor is going to round the final corner for 10th position to take 3 points from Manor, get their first points of the season. Jenson Button once again with that monstrous BMW engine going to go sideways over this once again through Magnussen Beckett. Now where's he going? He's completely off the screen. Where's he going? He's going sideways. He's one of the Toro Rossos in the background. How has he done that? He's come back. He's been smashed by one of the Saubers. Now Saubers lost his front wing. The Toro Rossos get hold of both. Now here come both the Manners. Just caught up in the back of this. These Manners seem to get caught up in the aftermath of everything. Well, then again, you're at the back, so they wouldn't get caught up in the aftermath of it all. Now Max Verstappen's going to look up our inside. So we can see the side, a bit of contact there. Once again, we get forced off the track 2 laps in a row. Everything's getting very messy here. Now Jenson Button finally managed to get going once again. Yellow flags up in front. I imagine that's for the Sauber that's got no front wing. And Button hits him, he goes airborne. I was trying to replicate the move that Rossi did to Max Verstappen previous race. I mean, I thought we saw the last of the aerial overtakes at Austria, but I guess not. Now Verstappen's all over the back of that McLaren in front. I still don't know which McLaren that is yet. Now we're going to Max Beckett is going to go too wide. I'm going to go side by side. It's actually Alonso. No, we're going to go 3 wide through Max Beckett. There's a bit of contact. Alonso's contact. We've been spun. We've been spun by Alonso. Now we're in the middle of the track. I hope no one hits us. Thankfully, there's only one car coming. That's the Sauber of Ericsson. Ericsson trying to get out of the way. Is that a bit of smoke coming out of the car? No, I think that's just a bit of dust being kicked up from the grass. Thankfully, we haven't got an engine issue. We've got issues now because we're in 18th, only ahead of Button and one of the Manners, I imagine. Or no, that'd be the Sauber, lost the front wing earlier on in the race. Now cutting onto this lap, there's contact. Alonso's got a puncture, and the Sauber gets round, but Torres lost his front wing. And you see us just ploughing past on the grass to get past both of them. And now Bottas actually sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so Bottas really starting to get into the groove now. Really has found his pace in that Mercedes car. And of course, he's fighting for the lead of the championship. So going to lap 3, gaining in the slipstream now on the back of Nico Hülkenberg. Can we tell one closer to make a move? Not quite. Hulkenberg's just too far in front for us to make a move now. Of course, we haven't got a DRS this time because the DRS detection point was back in the previous lap. We're now going to the outside of Nico Hülkenberg and switch back to the inside. Hulkenberg's done me to the middle of the track. There's no place he can go, really. Now we're going side by side. Are we with the Force India? No, I've actually cleared Hulkenberg. Now here's Hamilton trying to get up the inside now with Jenson Button. Button's going to try and hold it around the outside, is he? Yeah, Button just holds it. Now it's going to be Ferrari with DRS versus just pure BMW power. Looks like Button's going to try and hold it on the inside, is he? He says, now, did these two make contact like Hamilton and Kvyat feel like before? No, they managed to get around. Now Kvyat's just waiting right behind these two. Now going to go side by side now through this section. Just about keep it on the track. Hamilton may have got ahead, but Button's going to try and keep it on the inside, is he? He's got his nose in there. Kvyat's making it 3 line. There's contact. Button's been spun. Oh, Button just has no luck in these races this season. He just has no luck whatsoever. Everyone looks to get a pretty even start up in front. And one Torres now going to pull to the inside. And Carmen Joy goes for a dive up the inside. And she goes for an amazing dive. Making a, 5-6 positions there. She goes into turn 1. I guess side by side one of the Force Indias. Meanwhile, we get forced out on the curb by one of the Sauber. But it's a great start for Carmen Jordan. We're still in 14th. And Carmen Jordan's up into, I don't know, 8th, 9th. Somewhere around there. Now the 2 Toro Rossos going at it right in front, slipstreaming each other. Carmen Jordan, amazing start there. Just to dive up the inside. She saw the space and went for it. Maybe she saw what we did back at Hungary last race. Now gaining right in slipstream, coming to 222, 223 miles an hour. Coming behind Daniel Ricciardo. But going to come straight, we're just not close enough to try and make a move up the inside. Ricciardo shuts the door. Now gaining in the slipstream now, coming up to 200 miles an hour. This is a great place to slipstream if you want to try and make an overtake. Now the 14 is actually pulling away slightly in a straight line. Now let's now move to the inside now. Once I don't go to the inside now, John Verne will attempt it, and the 14 just completely blocks the track and actually pits. 14 pits, half the grid's in the pits at the end of the first lap. Once again, the tyre wear just not lasting. Now they're going side by side with John Verne for P6. Well, I think it's P6 when everything sorts itself out. I think so. So yeah, now we are now up into P6. We don't have Kvyat in front. I don't know where Carmen Jorda is. I don't know if Jorda's pitted. No, she hasn't. You can see that on the mini-map. She's actually got ahead of Carmen Jorda. Carmen Jorda's got ahead of Carmen Jorda. Yeah, she got ahead of John Verne and Kvyat. Both the Rebels. So now coming on to the end of lap 2, we've got Max Verstappen now right behind us. There's now one of the Rebels. Kvyat pits. Kvyat pits along with one of the Williams also. Buttons pit. So I'm going to put Carmen Jorda up into the podium positions. We're up into 4th. Great stuff for Lotus. So who's in the lead? I know Vettel's in the lead, but who's second? I don't know who's second. But it's a 1-2 for whoever, Vettel leading, and Lotus 3-4. Great stuff for Lotus. With Ricciardo now in 5th. Great stuff. All the midfield teams really making the tyres last. And now looking at the front, it's a 2 Ferraris. It's Ferrari 1-2. Now Hamilton going to get the slipstream off his teammate Sebastian Vettel. Now pull to the inside. Vettel trying to hold it around the outside, is he? He's going to try now, but Hamilton's got the drive. Now Hamilton moves up into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. It's Ferrari 1-2 and a Lotus 3-4. I'd take that any day of the week. We're just gone up to 19 runners, now in P6. Got Sebastian Buemi right behind us. There's no way we're going to fend off a BMW Williams that has DRS. You see, Buemi just powers straight past us there to get up into P6. Now Demosa's down back down to P7. And there's just contact. Buemi just moves right across in the braking zone. Maybe a bit dangerous, but, well, he had the position, so he was entitled to park his car where he wanted. We should have seen that a bit better there, so I'll take the blame for that. Looking at replay, Jenson Button's out! He's out of the Belgian Grand Prix. Button just has no luck whatsoever. We're coming to find out the Grand Prix. We've got Daniel Ricciardo trying to go around the outside of us now. Take us now for P7. We're going to try and get back in stage. Good Max Verstappen, because I made looking 3 wide at the end of the camel straight. Verstappen jumps right over the camel, makes contact with his team. They're going to try and make it around the outside, and still making 3 wide now. He managed to get around the outside of Verstappen. Don't manage to quite get back Ricciardo though, so now we're going to try and chase down Ricciardo for the remainder of this lap to try and retake P7 because Carmen Jorda seems she's actually right up the road now. We've got 2 cars right behind us. I imagine that's going to be Buemi and one of the cars, oh, yellow flags behind. This may have been a bit of contact further behind maybe. This is like on the minimap, one of the cars maybe spun off on the final lap, which is not good for them. Now coming through the second sector, because we were losing, to the Mercedes we were losing 2 seconds in qualifying through here. So we should be pretty even with the Toro Rossos through here, because we have got those downforce upgrades on the Lotus, so it has hurt us in a straight line, but this is where we should be strong against the Toro Rosso. And in a straight line, maybe not so much. Now, only half a lap left to go, and Lewis Hamilton wins the Belgian Grand Prix after taking the lead from Sebastian Vettel early on in the race. So now we're in P8 trying to chase down. No good to try and defend now for Max Verstappen. Of course, Max Verstappen made his debut here last season, so he pretty much knows his way around the track, even though he did get taken out by Maldonado, and we're taking Maldonado's seat for this season. Now coming into final chicane, trying to outbrake Daniel Ricciardo. No, he's way too far in front to try and outbrake. He's trying to find the corner now. Going to come across the line, get DRS, just fend off Max Verstappen, and we're going to finish in P8. Following practice ahead of the Italian Grand Prix, and the main headlines was that Jenson Button has decided to retire from Formula 1 midway through the season due to his poor luck and the poor reliability from his BMW Williams. So this left the seats open at the works team, and they approached Josh Tiro, who jumped his opportunity to race for the works team, and as he accepted the Williams contract offer, he has therefore taken himself out of the Mercedes Young Driver programme. So this left Lotus looking for a replacement driver, and the replacement driver is to be Joseph Kral, who returns to F1 after testing for HRT at the end of the 2010 season. Pure City now going side by side with Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes, now going side by side. We managed to sweep right around the outside of the Mercedes and move back up into our starting position. Off P3 now, Lewis Hamilton managed to clear both of the Force Indias now to move up into P5. Now he's going to be gaining on us now. Talking of gaining, Bottas now pulls right back to the outside of us now, using the switching to great effect there to go side by side. And coming out in a parabolica, going side by side, Bottas could try and hold it right around the outside, is he? Could try and hold it around the outside. He can try and hold it. We'll just have we have the inside line. Now we have to hold it right back in front now of the Mercedes driver. Now Bottas can once again come back now with the slipstream. Now pulls to the outside. Now Hamilton's making 3 wide now, coming down into turn 1. With late braking fenders, Vettel goes side by side with Rosberg for the lead of the Grand Prix. Now with late braking between us 3. And we just hold it up the inside. Hamilton jumps over the curb slide to keep it 3 wide. Now we just about get it on the racing line. Now Hamilton and Bottas going side by side. It's like Hamilton just have to slot in behind Bottas. I don't think Hamilton's going to have DRS now off the back of Rosberg, so Hamilton's going to be rather defensive, not going down straight. Just look at the closing speed we've got on the back of this Ferrari, now pulling to the inside of our fellow Brit. Into turn 1. Going side by side, managed to actually clear Lewis Hamilton coming into turn 1. Now we can try and chase down Nico Rosberg, who hasn't managed to get past Sebastian Vettel there. So hopefully that's going to play. Hopefully he's at to advantage now, try and clear the Mercedes driver. Of course, the defending world champion. Into the chicane, think about having a look. They've set a fastest first sector. They're getting great runs on the chicane exit. Now going side by side with the defending world champion Nico Rosberg. Now coming into the Lesmos. We force our way through. Now open to lane. Hamilton gets very aggressive. Barges way past Lewis Hamilton. Barges way past Nico Rosberg. Of course, the ex-teammates from last season. Now side by side, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. That's going to be a straight line speed affair because Hamilton will have DRS now, so he managed to sweep past Nico Rosberg. Now Rosberg has to worry about defending that from his teammate Valtteri Bottas, who's coming side by side with him. So Rosberg can go from first to fourth in the space of a sector. Now Rosberg is going to fight his teammate here, Valtteri Bottas, going side by side through Ascari. That's just cost them loads of time now on the back of Lewis Hamilton. You see Hamilton's always streaking away into the distance along with us. And now Bottas able to move up into P3, Rosberg now down to P4. This is for the leaders of the Grand Prix now going side by side coming out into turn 1. We have to hop over the coastline to give Vettel the room to make the corner. Now goes side by side with the German, and Vettel's able to get in front, but now we're right behind Sebastian Vettel now, the 4-time world champion, in the Ferrari now for the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, now cutting on further on to the end of lap 8. Now we're right up behind the 4-time world champion in the Ferrari, now gaining right in the slipstream, cutting off DRS, now coming down into turn 1. Versus straight line speed. Nothing can stop this Williams in a straight line. And getting easily DRS. Now coming to 223, 24 miles an hour. Easily breeze past the Ferrari. Go down into turn 1. Heavy braking. Go deep deliberately to cover off Vettel. But Vettel gets an amazing switchback now. That's going side by side with us. Vettel keeps it up the inside line. It's always reminiscent to me and Kvyat last season, of course, in the Marussia and the Toro Rosso. Now Vettel's going to try and hold it up the inside line, is he? Bit of contact. So the contact wheel banging at 220 miles an hour. Scary stuff that is. That's not what you want to be doing. I see me and Vettel hold it around the outside now of Sebastian Vettel to move back into the lead of the Italian Grand Prix now, because Vettel will have DRS once again to try and come back at us now. Down the back straight here. Now Vettel gaining with the DRS. Now, just despite us having a BMW power unit with a straight line speed, just the DRS and slipstream just so powerful here. Now we can just see Vettel's getting now. Vettel's just going side by side with us now, cover into Ascari. We get Vettel at the inside line, break early because I don't fancy going 2x2 through here and losing more time to Bottas behind. So we just decided to let Vettel get back through for the time being, use his slipstream, and then try and use DRS down the front straight. Should then retake the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. Now I think I'll make a move into Pararoca, do we? No, we just stay behind the Ferrari for the time being, just wait for DRS now to use down the main straight, because there's no way Vettel's going to be able to defend from us once we get DRS. Now coming up to the DRS detection point now on start of lap 10, Vettel's got an engine failure! I don't believe it. Vettel in front of the home crowd has his engine's gone. The Ferrari engine has let go in front of the home crowd. Cannot believe it. Now down to 18 runners. Now we're up into P1, Bottas P2. Now Nico Hulkenberg in the Force India, currently up into P3. Now looking further up front, here's the two Lotuses going side by side. Is that Joseph Krell looking to make a move up the inside now of Carmen Jordan? They're going to hold it side by side. Now coming up into the second sector, still they're going side by side. Now we've got one of the Saubers and a Toro Rosso right behind. Now Crowd's going to have the inside line, but Jordan's just going to hold it around the outside, is she? Yes, she is. Great battling here from the two Lotuses, going side by side still. Now coming up to the old Singapore Schling, which, well, thankfully now it's been removed, you can still keep it side by side from the two Lotuses. Now consider actually, how are these two keeping side by side for so long? Great racing here from the two Lotus drivers. Now trying to hold it around the outside, is she? Can't Jordan try and hold it around the outside? You can hold it now. Still they're going side by side. Unbelievable scenes there between the two Lotuses, and it's actually losing so much time, but it's a great battle between the two Lotus drivers, of course, fighting for supremacy now that we've moved to Williams. So now this Crowd can try to now hold it round the outside, now turn to the inside for the Czech driver. Now Jordan can hold it round the outside now, turns to the inside. Now Jordan's finally moved ahead of Joseph Krell in what has been probably the battle of the season. Anyway, now cutting a bit further on, Bottas is now gaining right in the slipstream DRS now of his teammate Nico Rosberg for what is P2 in this race. Now Bottas close enough to come into turn 1 there to stick behind his teammate for the time being. Of course now he's going to be within the DRS range. Coming on now down the second DRS straight, and that's going to be realistically his last opportunity to try and make an overtake on his teammate to take second place. And you see that we are catching Daniel Kvyat. Kvyat really doesn't have the pace in that Red Bull. That Red Bull just has really no pace. Well, see, like I said, back in Hungary, they've really got their car design completely wrong. Now, Bottas can now pull to the inside now of Nico Rosberg, because there's a do-or-die stuff now. It's crucial for the championship, whoever comes out on this, the lead of this. Now, Rosberg's just going to defend to the inside, is he? It's like Rosberg's just going to hold it. Now, Bottas has to slot back in now into P3, we're up behind in P4. But now, Daniel Kvyat is going to round the final corner to cross the finish line to take Red Bull's first victory since Brazil 2013. And looking a bit further forward, looking back at the Manners actually, because the Manners really have had no coverage whatsoever this season. I think this is the first time I've actually talked about them in a video since the start of the season in Australia, where they're causing that blockade from the two Williams. So these two going side by side having a great old battle here. And this is, with the way they're battling, you think they're going for the World Championship, but this is the battle to not finish in last. This is the battle for P19 on the grid. It's like Stevens just going to hold it up the inside of Rossi, just forcing out wide. And Stevens managed to hold on to 19th place for the time being. Now coming up the straight here, this is where Bottas is going to have a really tough time defending from the straight line speed from our Williams with this BMW engine. Getting in the slipstream now, we're ready to go left to the right. No dummy, we're going to try and go round the outside of Valtteri Bottas, coming to 130R. And we make it work, round the outside of Valtteri Bottas. Does that move us into the net lead? It depends where Buemi and Rosberg come out, because they've had to stay out the extra laps. And it depends, have they got an overcut on both of us? I'd imagine that they pit at the end of this lap. It's time to see where they come out in relation to two Ferraris and Kvyat as well. Now coming down the straight, where's Rosberg and Buemi? They're just coming out the pits now, so we've got an undercut on Rosberg and Buemi. But they've both overcut both the Ferraris. This has been a nightmare for Ferrari. Now coming in turn 1, Rosberg pulling to the inside of us, we have to defend to the inside, squeeze as much as we can, moving back onto the racing line. Going to go side by side into turn 1, we're trying to hold it now around the outside of Rosberg, as well Bottas did it earlier on, so why can't we do it? Rosberg, they just get traction on the inside line now. Rosberg moves up into the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. We'll try and keep with him here through the S section. We ran out a bit wide in the dirty air, and he's gaining time in. Now we've been taken out, we've been taken out by Bottas! And now we've spun into the wall and Bottas off as well. Has Bottas got any damage? He's stopped in the gravel, has to wait for Kvyat and all the other cars to go past. But now we're facing the complete wrong way. I still, what happened there? Just come around the corner and it's completely took out by by Bottas. See, now we'll come back on the track, thankfully. He's completely understeering like a complete boat, so imagine we've got some sort of front wing damage. And indeed we have seen over the left side wheel. There's none of our front wing left, so got to 2.5 laps now with half a front wing. Now looking at the replay of what happened, see that we're going side by side with Nico Rosberg coming to turn 1. We just get forced out wide, so now there Rosberg takes the lead of the Grand Prix. And we're trying to keep close through the S section. Now keeping pretty close to Nico Rosberg there, just getting a bit dirty air on. And then Rosberg just get tapped in the side by Valtteri Bottas. I mean, honestly, I'd probably say that's a racing incident, because there was easily enough room for Bottas to not hit us. There's easily enough room on the left side, but Bottas just kept turning right into our car. So I would say that's a racing incident. Thankfully, no penalty from the stewards, but if there was a penalty to be given, I would say that our front wing damage was the penalty in all of that. Now we've got one of the towers right behind us now, looking very racy. We just completely go off the track because we just can't turn. I mean, when it seems you've got front wing damage, it's completely unreal how much you can't drive the car. Now it's going off into the gravel, now being overtaken now by a McLaren Honda. Now it's a complete straight line affair between BMW and Honda. You can just see they're streaking ahead in the Williams, and now Van Dorn's going to dive it back up the inside in 130R. What was Van Dorn thinking? That could have ended very nastily if we were actually able to turn the corner. Now diving out up the inside of Fernando Alonso, coming into the final corner. Managed to get back one of the McLarens, but still, what was Van Dorn thinking? If we were actually able to manage to turn the corner, that would have been a pretty nasty collision, I would have thought. But now coming down the straight and now coming down to turn 1, we're nowhere near gaining back on Van Dorn. Now looking on Fernando Alonso, coming down to turn 1, and Alonso just completely followed us out wide, probably focusing too much on our line. So we're running out wide because he's completely turning. There's been contact, we've been spun again! Twice in 2 laps, we've been spun in pretty much the same place. And that pretty much just sums up the end of our race, really. Just getting now on the back of Sebastian Vettel, but Vettel's trying to pull to the inside of us now, trying to go up the inside now, coming into turn 2. Well, turn 2, he should be classed as turn 1. Now Vettel's going for the lead, but he just hasn't got the edge. Just hasn't got the momentum. Rosberg has to hold it now around the outside, which compromises Vettel's exit. Now we're going side by side with the 4-time world champion. Vettel's just going to try and hold it now around the outside. You've got the racing line, they're keeping it on the inside. Now coming up into turn 4, trying to hold it now around the outside, are we? A bit on the curve, they're still taking it side by side with Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari. Now coming up into turn 5, we're just able to swoop ahead, and I'll move back into a starting position of P2. And now we're right up the back now of Valtteri Bottas, who doesn't look to be gaining too much on the back of Sebastian Buemi. Now we've got Rebels punting inside of one of the Lotuses. We're going to pull to the inside now. Valtteri Bottas coming over, force him out wide. We're going to get 3 wide coming into the heavy braking. How is this going to work? Bottas cuts the corner. We're going side by side with our teammate Sebastian Buemi, who shouldn't really be fighting us. And now we move ahead of Sebastian Buemi, who's now really holding up now the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. So Bottas having to cut the corner, having to really see that position. Bottas going really aggressive. We could have taken himself out, could have taken me out in the process, but we had the inside line. Bottas chose to follow us around the outside. Thankfully, it didn't end in a collision for anyone. Now Bottas will have to try and catch us up once again. Now the question is, where's Nico Rosberg going to come out in all this? Because he's probably got stuck behind the Mercedes. Now here's Rosberg now coming out of the pits. Rosberg looks like an overcut us, but gaining on the slate sheet now. They're going to pull right to the inside now as Rosberg pulls over to the racing line. We're going to get him right up the inside now of Nico Rosberg. Once again, we run out wide, just about to keep the wheels on the track. And now, well, Rosberg has got an overcut on his teammate Valtteri Bottas because we got stuck behind the Red Bull and our teammate Sebastian Buemi. McLaren really just goes off track there to let us through. Gets out of the way, thankfully, of me and Rosberg. Because McLaren has held up Valtteri Bottas. Bottas got stuck behind the McLaren. Now Vettel's going 3 wide now with the lap car. And Vettel's trying to go now up the inside now of Valtteri Bottas, keeping it side by side with the Finn. This could be crucial for the championship now. You've seen how fast that Ferrari is in a straight line. They're going to keep it side by side still. Vettel's just going to hold it now around the outside. Now Vettel should have DRS. Now gaining back in the slipstream now on the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. Now Vettel now looking to the outside. We've seen that Ferrari is super fast in a straight line. Now Bottas can try and look to hold it down the inside, and that's tuck in behind Sebastian Vettel. Now Vettel moves up into P3 with only 1 lap of this race left to go. Rosberg there with a bit of a lock-up. Now coming up to heavy braking. We're going to go for an ultimate dive bomb up the inside. There's no contact. How do we avoid contact there? And try and hold it now around the outside of Nico Rosberg. Rosberg forces us off the track. We have to take the position now around the outside, but we move back into the lead of the Russian Grand Prix, and Bottas has got back up into P3. I'm pretty much sure that Rosberg has no place left to overtake us. There's only 2 corners left to go. Rosberg can try and dive one back on us. No, he isn't. Now coming up round the final corner now. Coming up to checker flag. We're now going to win the Russian Grand Prix. We defend to the inside, but Rosberg has to look now around the outside of us. Now coming up into heavy braking for the end of the straight. Rosberg runs out wide. And that gives Buemi an opportunity to go through. Now Buemi is going side by side now with Nico Rosberg. Try and hold it now around the outside. But Rosberg just going to force Buemi out wide, so Buemi has to slot back down into P3 and manage to come out ahead of the Mercedes, or what is probably Nico Rosberg. Now coming out to pits, the question is, where's Lewis Hamilton going to be? There goes one of the Lotuses. That's not Lewis Hamilton. There goes the team McLaren's holding up massively one of the Saubers. Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's now going side by side with Nico Rosberg. Rosberg makes contact with Lewis Hamilton, forcing him off the track. But Rosberg holding it side by side now with Lewis Hamilton, of course, the ex-teammates from last season. Now Hamilton is just going to sweep through now up the inside, and now Hamilton has managed to make that undercut work on Nico Rosberg. And thankfully, he hasn't actually got a puncture from that contact there. We've seen punctures for much less than that, so Hamilton there very lucky to get away without a puncture there from that contact with Nico Rosberg. Looking back at Valtteri Bottas now gaining. Hamilton's getting very slow. Hamilton's got a puncture. Hamilton's got a puncture. Oh, that's crucial for the championship. He's being overtaken by absolutely everyone. Now Hamilton has to do half a lap now with the puncture. And I imagine that's from the contact with Nico Rosberg. As Rosberg came out of the pits, see there, Rosberg being very forceful so far. I've seen her making contact with Buemi, and as now, I would say give Hamilton a puncture, and I'll probably say that's taking him out of the championship fight. And now he's going to be down at the back. This is going to be a no-scoring points race for Lewis Hamilton, unless 11 cars to somehow DNF the race from now. It's possible, but it's very unlikely. So Hamilton putting on the set of soft tyres, sending him back out, but there's no way Hamilton's going to get points now from this race. Nico Rosberg now looking to the outside of us, gaining insulation. Rosberg taking himself into the wall. Rosberg, what are you doing? So first Rosberg takes out Hamilton, and now he takes himself out, trying to take us out of the race. What is Rosberg doing? Rosberg is just trying to maldonate the entire field. Now, just completely cuts in front now Sebastian Buemi. Now Rosberg's facing the complete wrong way. That's pretty much karma for trying to take us out just then. Now, that's pretty much ruined Rosberg's championship chances, I'd say, so that's pretty much karma for what he did to Hamilton as well. Now, Rosberg has to do an entire lap now without a front wing. And looking at a replay, as you can see here, Rosberg is clearly turning left into our rear wheel, trying to take us out, and then he rebounds off of our rear wheel, hits the wall, and loses his front wing completely. Taking a look at the race results, we would take the win. 5.5 seconds clear of Sebastian Buemi, finishes in second. So we take the first Williams 1-2 since France 2003. Now coming down to a complete drag race now down to turn 1. We've got Nico Rosberg going side by side with us now. Now we've got Bottas and Vettel going side by side. But Vettel's going to look to make it 3 wide now coming into turn 1. He's got the inside line. We've rerun out wide just to avoid any contact. Of course, we don't want to get taken out this early in the race. Now Vettel going side by side with Nico Rosberg for the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. That's going to be a drag race down into turn 3. You know, the Ferrari's faster in a straight line, but the Mercedes better through the corners. Now coming up into turn 3, can be last of the late breakers here. Vettel's still going to hold it now around the outside, which will turn to the inside for turn 4. Rosberg just gets squeezed out, and Rosberg has to settle now for P2, so Vettel now moves into the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. They're going side by side with the man, and man's getting completely swamped because the man's got no straight line speed. They're going side by side with Valtteri Bottas. Pretty much a lost cause there, and the man just completely doesn't even put up a fight and just recedes that position to Bottas. And now once again, coming out of the pits, we're behind Van Dorn once again. I mean, what is it with Van Dorn? And when we pit, we come out behind him. But we're not going to be behind him for much longer now. It's coming down the main straight. This is just going to be McLaren humiliation. Now, of course, because Van Dorn still has DRS off Alonso, and we're just completely charging our way past both the McLarens down into turn 1. Get the braking right, just lock up a bit slightly. To make sure Alonso kind of move back on us. Now we get past both the McLarens in the same straight, and now we can try and chase down the Sauber of Adrian Sutil in front of us. We don't know how fast the Sauber is in the straight line, so it's not going to be as easy to overtake. Of course, the Sauber getting in the DRS of the Lotus and the Toros are in front, so you have to stick behind Adrian Sutil for the time being. This is not what we need, because I don't think that Hamilton's pit yet. So the more time we lose here, the more time we lose to Hamilton, who I don't know if he's doing a 2-stop or not. I think he's left it this long, so surely Hamilton must be going for a 1-stop. It's Adrian Sutil, what are you doing going so slowly through this section? Seriously, if you're going any slower, I think you'd be in a HRT race. And now Hamilton goes into a medium tyre, so Hamilton Ferrari trying a 1-stop there, so very interesting to see where Hamilton comes out. He gets ahead of the Force India, whichever Force India that is. So now Hamilton's going to come out. Whereabouts is Hamilton going to come out? That's the main question. There goes us. But we've only just passed Hamilton now, so if Hamilton's doing a 1-stop, then we've lost loads of time there. Now going down the main straight, there's one of the Mercedes behind. Just going to stay behind Lewis Hamilton for the time being. So Hamilton's going to come out in what is currently, I think, 2nd position, doing a 1-stop. So Hamilton there's got a strategy masterclass there from Ferrari. Ferrari getting the strategy is actually right for once. Is this what happened earlier on in the race? And now this is probably the worst place to have a puncture. I don't even know which Force India that is. So no, don't tell me that's Perez. Do not tell me that's Perez with a puncture at his home Grand Prix. He's now causing a complete train. UniONE truly would be proud of this. Causing a complete Perez train. And now the McLaren looks to the inside now to try and get around. Number 1, he's going to try and get around the outside. And that's going side by side with the McLaren. Now Perez just parking it on the racing line. Now holding up the Manners and the other Force India. So was that Hulkenberg that had a puncture earlier on? That's been a nightmare race for Force India if that's the case. Still, both Force Indias presumably now having a puncture. There's one of the Red Bulls. What's that Red Bull doing all the way down here behind the Manners? And now the Red Bull getting completely stuck behind Perez. Is pretty much just shoving him along the track now. It's probably going faster now. It's being shoved by the Red Bull actually. Now it gets shoved out of the way. And the Red Bull finally manages to get past Perez. Now cutting back live. Now here comes Lewis Hamilton. Up now to lap the Force India of Sergio Perez. How did he just hit into the back of Perez? What was Hamilton thinking? He's completely maldonated into the back of Sergio Perez in the stadium section. I think Hamilton might need to get out of Mexico quite quickly after this race now. But now Hamilton has to pit as well. Hamilton, who was on the 1-stop, ruined his own race, and is now coming to the pits for what I presume would be a front wing change if he's pit, because he wouldn't have a puncture from that because of a front end collision. Now, yeah, Ferrari are changing his front wing and putting on a set of soft tyres, but surely that's any chance of the win now gone, and now Hamilton actually gets held up for the Force India Perez coming to the pit, so a bit of karma there for Hamilton, but still. Now looking at a replay of what Hamilton just did, see there, coming through the stadium section, you see Perez there up in front, and then Lewis just aims for the Force India in the stadium section, and I think he's just made about 10,000 Mexicans hate him. Now try and force Bottas over as much as we can. Quintus is coming to a big complete drag race down the straight, and Bottas got ahead of us once again. We force him over to the grass. And Bottas just gets in front of us. Now we could follow in his slipstream once again. Now pulling back to the racing line once again. Austin Newby tried it earlier on. This time we get our braking right, trying to sweep right around the outside of Valtteri Bottas, keeping it side by side through the chicane. Trying to hold it now around the outside of Valtteri Bottas, but Bottas can have a second by the cherry, second bit of DRS now to try and overtake us once again. That's going to be a drag race now down into turn 3. Can Bottas try and hold the other side? We've got the inside line. We're going to keep it side by side with Valtteri Bottas, and we've got Vettel there waiting just behind in case anything happens with us too. Now, once again, we move back in front of Valtteri Bottas. There's only one sector left to go. And that sector coming up is the sector where this Williams is weakest. So we're going to put the engine down to standard, we're going to use all of our defensive techniques, everything we've learned to try and keep this victory. We know how hungry Bottas is for this race victory. We also know he kind of doesn't like us after Japan either. So now it's got one sector left to go to try and hold this victory from a charging Valtteri Bottas, who's now looking to the inside of us. Anywhere where you can go try and make a move. Now we have to defend to the inside now, coming into stadium sector. We're going side by side through the stadium sector. The crowd are going to be loving this. Now going side by side with Valtteri Bottas now. Only 2 corners left to go. We've got the outer line which now turns to the inside. Now coming up to the penultimate corner, going around the outside. Bottas runs out wide. Now Vettel's got the inside of Valtteri Bottas. But Vettel's now moved up into P2. Vettel's into P2. We're going to cross the line to win, but Vettel getting P2, and that's crucial for the championship there. Lights out and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. So that'll be a good start for both Mercedes. It looks to be pulling away from us now. Rosberg looks to now try and challenge Valtteri Bottas going into turn 1. We got a braking right now, trying to get up the inside of Nico Rosberg. Making a bit of contact there with Valtteri Bottas, but we have to slap that down into P3. And Buemi's managed to get up now into P4. So great start there from Buemi now to try and gain in the slipstream now on the back of Nico Rosberg. Hasn't got the best exit out of turn 3. Now we're gaining right onto the back now of the German. And now cutting onto the end now of the lap. Got the 2 Manners holding up now both of the Mercedes in front. Now this should be an easier take for both the Mercedes. Now got Rossi gaining on the back now. Stephen Rossi pushed to the inside, blocks off the Mercedes. And going forward now, 2 sets of 2x2. And I'll keep it side by side now, the 2 Manners blocking off the 2 Mercedes. An absolute treat there. Now Rosberg looks to try and get a run there around the outside now of Will Stevens, but he's going to get boxed in by the Manor. And he's going to go side by side with Will Stevens being held now by Alex Rossi. Now Stevens going to try and get now up the inside of Alex Rossi. Rosberg started ducking behind. Defence now to Sebastian Vettel. Now Vettel's going side by side with Valtteri Bottas. In the Mercedes, of course, all the championship contenders have somehow found themselves on the same piece of track, stuck behind the 2 slowest cars on the grid. Now we're waiting, just diving all over the track to try and find a way past. These 2 now, Bottas can look up the inside now. Vettel look inside of Rosberg as well. Great dive there from Valtteri Bottas, very opportunistic. Now going side by side with the 2 Mercedes teammates. And this is why Brazil should be the final race of the season and not Abu Dhabi. Just epic racing here. The weather doesn't like to play factor this race, but it can do, and just get the most epic battles here. Behind the 2 slowest cars on the grid, all 3 championship contenders stuck behind them. Rosberg trying to move up the inside of Alex Rossi. Doesn't think about it now. Bottas still going side by side now with his teammate. Now going to get boxed in behind the Manor though. Now Rosberg now on the inside line forces Bottas in, boxes him in behind the Manor. That's going to be a complete drag race now. We've seen the Manners off and Rosberg going way to the inside now, trying to get past one of the Manners. Coming up now under braking into turn 1. Rosberg and Dave up inside both of the Manners. Rosberg's going to get past both the Manners in one corner. And now Vettel's going side by side with Valtteri Bottas, who's stuck behind them. This is exactly what Rosberg needs. Now he needs to get up the road and get a few more positions if he's to gain the championship. Now Rosberg is trying to get past Valtteri Bottas as well as Bottas is going to get past Valtteri Bottas now. Now we've got Verne going 3 wide with me and Bottas, coming now to turn 4. Vettel's managed to clear both the Manners, but now Verne's cleared us. Now going side by side with one of the Manners of Will Stevens. Now Stevens going to try and dive it back up the inside now, John-Eric Verne. Great driving there from Will Stevens, of course. Even in the slowest car in the grid, he's going to put up a fight with the top cars. We weren't expecting this in this race, I imagine. But now Verne has managed to clear one of the Manners. Now we're going side by side with Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Of course, it doesn't matter about us because we're not in this championship. Now getting a great run on Will Stevens because that Manor just has no downforce, no traction. And now we get back ahead of Will Stevens. Now getting in the traction now, right behind John-Eric Verne. Is now caught up right behind the other Manor of Alex Rossi. Trying to get now up the inside of John-Eric Verne, coming into an ultimate corner. We just can't find a way around. And on traction, that Red Bull starts a bit more downforce. Now getting all over the back now, Johnny Verne. We're shoving him along with that close to the back of the Frenchman in the Red Bull. Now Rossi pits. Now we're going side by side with John-Eric Verne. Now coming into turn 1. It should be an easy overtake Red Bull v Williams. And we make an easy move there into turn 1. Ahead of Johnny Verne, but Will Stevens is still ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Bottas has just lost about 8 seconds in his previous 2 laps now to Vettel and Rosberg. He's managed to get past both of them. But now Bottas is going to pull to the inside now of Alex Rossi, coming into turn 4 and trying to make the move on the inside. And finally he managed to clear the Manor of Alex Rossi, who's now holding up the 2 Force Indias, Daniel Kvyat and one of the Lotuses. Now the Taurus is going to look to make a move there on the inside now of the McLaren, but a huge lock up there from Nico Rosberg. That's not going to be fresh. Rosberg's got an engine failure. Rosberg with an engine failure in the final race of the season. And that's him out of the championship. Now it's a 2-way fight between Bottas and Sebastian Vettel, which currently Vettel's winning because Bottas is behind us. Now cutting into that line right behind Max Verstappen, now coming into turn 1. Going to make an easy move on the Toro Rosso, coming up to the inside line. And that moves us up now into P4. with Vettel in P3, and Bottas is gaining, but is he gaining enough? Is there enough time left for Bottas to try a miracle move to get past me and Vettel? And the answer is probably going to be no. It's cutting on to midway through lap 18. Vettel's in 4th, we're still in 5th, and Bottas is still behind us in 6th. So if it stays like this, Bottas isn't going to win the championship. But talking of winning, Lewis Hamilton is going to come up to the line to win the Brazilian Grand Prix after making the one-stop work. And this proves what could have been if it wasn't for the incidents at USA and Mexico. What could have been for Lewis Hamilton. Now cutting a bit further on, looking a bit further back at Sebastian Vettel, but Vettel knows what he's done. Now if Vettel just keep going for the last 300 metres, Vettel is going to cross the line, and Sebastian Vettel is your 2015 Drivers' World Champion.
Yes, 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 great drive, well done. Slows it down. Numero uno is back, top class. Great drive. Ferrari's back. Fantastico, fantastico. Sei un grande, Seb.
Yes! Sì, ragazzi! Oh, mi senti? Mi senti? Grazie mille, ragazzi. Grazie. Dai!